My name is Ruth. In today's video, we are going to be learning how to draft a Victorian corset top. This is a highly requested video. It's divided into two parts. The first part will be on how to draft and cut, while the second part will be the sewing part. And I just want to say thank you to all our subscribers. Thank you for supporting our channel. It's a channel that is barely 2 months old. I just want to thank you for all the likes. Your corset blouse. We have to learn how to take the basic measurement. The first thing you measure the length of the blouse like this. You measure the back of the client like this. That's on the shoulder, or you measure from this part to this part, whatever you have, multiply it by 2. Then you measure the bust circumference, round the bust circumference. You write it down. You measure the underbust circumference. It is very important. This underbust measurement is very important when you are making anything, corset, any fitted stuff. The waist, this is the waist. This is the waistline. You measure the waist. There's one thing, note that the measurement of the waist in the front is longer than that of the back. You can experiment it. Tie a rope around this waist. Measure the length from the front and measure the back. So you measure the shoulder to underbust measurement. It's very important for bust tightening. Underbust measurement. Shoulder to nipple. That's the bust point. Then the nipple to nipple measurement, which is what you use for your darts. You measure the sleeve length. If there is a sleeve, measure around the sleeve. But the measurement for this, measure the bust circumference, shoulder to underbust, shoulder to nipple, nipple to nipple. So I think that was all the measurements we'll be needing for a Victorian corset or any fitted blouse. You need to, the bust.
Hello, welcome to class. We're learning how to draft a Victorian corset top. The first thing we'll do now, we're trying to create a box where we'll put the front and back basic pattern. So what we'll do, the biggest measurements of the upper bodies, we divide it into 4. Then we'll use whatever we have to divide. So that's exactly what I'm doing now. So I'm trying to take in all my horizontal measurement for the front pattern. So my underbust, my bust point, my waistline. So that's what I'm ruling now. So I'll label it underbust, waistline, then blouse length. So the next thing I'll do now, I'll try to measure my chest line. That's very easy. Divide your bust measurement by 6, then add 2 inches to it. You get your chest line, which is what I just did now. Then I put my armhole. So your nipple to nipple measurement is what you put there now. If your nipple to nipple is 8 inches, divide by 2, that's 4. That's the line I just ruled now from my bust point down to the blouse length. That's that line I just ruled now. So on that line, that will be my dart leg. I'll take in half inch on the waistline. Then I'll connect it 1 inch below my bust point, which is what I'm doing now. Then I'll go up from the blouse length with 1 inch. Then I'll connect the line. Can you see what I'm doing? I just took in half inch from my waistline. So I'm just trying to... So the next thing I'll do now, I'll put in my measurement. My bust divided by 4. My waist divided by 4. I'll add that 1 inch that I put. Then I'll just take in all my measurement, divide it by 4. So that's what I'm doing now. So I would rule it down now. So you see what I've done. So I want to do the underbust. I'm just trying to rule out that lines now to make sure everything is perfect. That's what I'm doing. So I'm taking in my bust dart, which is 2 inches. Remember, our front length and back length is not the same. So now my underbust tightening is what I'm doing. On that underbust line, I'll go in with 1 inch on both sides. So I'll connect it. See what I'm doing now for the underbust tightening, which is very, very... So I'm using my marker to highlight it so that you can see it clearly. So on my underbust line, I took in 1 inch. So I'm connecting it to my dart leg. Can you see what I'm doing? So that's it for it. So to understand this better, just watch our video on how to draft a basic bodice pattern. So I'm taking my basic neckline, which is 3 by 3 inches. Can you see? So my shoulder line, I'll divide it into 2 equal parts. I'll connect it to that bust, to the bust leg there. So my over bust tightening is what I want to do now. Above my chest line, I'll go up with 1 inch. So I'll take in my dart for my over bust tightening, half inch on both sides. Can you see what I'm doing? So I've done that now. So my neck depth, that all depends on your preference. So I don't want it too low, so I just went down a bit. So I'll connect now with my ruler. I'm using my marker to highlight it. So can you see? So I'll connect it to the other parts, depending on how low you want it. So in between that, my nipple to nipple measurement, I divided it into 2 equal halves and I rule it out. So I'm labeling it. Sorry, I didn't know my camera didn't video that part, but I will still try and explain it better. I divided it into 2 equal parts. Then I took in 1/4 inch, 0.23 on both sides on my nipple to nipple part. That's that middle line you are seeing there, the F1 and F2 and F3. You can divide it as much as you want to for a Victorian corset, but the more you divide it, the more complex it is for you to join. So I'm just trying to cut out all the darts. Can you see? If you can draft your basic bodice pattern, this is very easy. So please watch it on my previous videos on how to do that. So I'm trying to cut out all the darts now. So when you're cutting, make sure you label it. So we have moved now to the back part of this. So the first thing you do, you measure your chest line, what you used for the front. To get your chest line, like I said, is very easy. Remember, our front half waistline and back waistline is different. It's not the same. For me, the difference I had was 2 inches. That was what I used for my bust dart. So for the front, I think I used 17. So for the back, I'm going to use 15. So the back will be 2 inches shorter than the front blouse length because of that difference on our waistline, which is what I used for my bust dart in the front basic bodice that we just drafted. So I'm still trying to rule out my blouse length. My blouse length at the back will be 2 inches shorter. You have to measure your clients or yourself. Whatever difference you have for your front and back, the back measurement will be that difference shorter. Mine is 2 inches, so my back pattern will be 2 inches shorter than my front pattern. So which is what I'm trying to do now. So I'll cut this out. Then I'll just start. So please try and watch our video on how to draft a basic bodice pattern. I'm sorry that some part of the video was not filming. I thought I set the camera. I didn't know it was not filming. So but now this is the chest line, and that's the waistline, and that's the blouse length. So I'll put in my shoulder measurement now. Remember to get your chest line, just divide your bust by 6, then add 2 inches to whatever result you get. So my back measurement divided by 2. I've put that down, and I did my armhole. So I'm just trying to reconfirm my measurement. That's the waistline. So you are going to use your nipple to nipple measurement as your darts measurement. I'm using 4 for this, so I'll rule that down. So that's our dart. For this, we'll be using a loop, so there's no need for a zip allowance. So on the waistline, I'm taking in 0.5 on both sides. You can do 0.75, but for this, I'm using 0.5 inch measurement. I'll go up for my blouse length with 1 inch, like what I did for the front pattern. Can you see? So I'm taking in my measurement now, divide my bust by 4, divide my waist by 4, then add that 1 inch that I took out, divide my blouse hip by 4. So I'll just connect the lines now. So I'll measure what I have there, then I'll divide it into 2 equal parts. Remember, it's a Victorian corset. So that was what I did for that front. I said was not videoed, so I'm dividing into 2. So you can rule as much lines as you want, but I don't want it too complex, so I'll just divide that into 2 equal parts. Then I'll take in 0.25 to give that waist, that snatched effect. You can do more, you can divide more lines, but the more lines you rule, the more complex it is for you when you are joining it. So I'll just do this one. You can decide to divide it more. That was what I did for that front. I had F1 that I said in video, please. So I'm going to go down there with 1/2 inch for my chest line. So I will label what I have. So now for my back loop, the back, what I'll do, I didn't put zip allowance. I want that V shape. So for the upper part, I think I took 2 inch. There I took 1 inch. Then that place I took 1/2 inch. So to give it that V shape when I lace it up. See what I'm doing now. So all the marks, all the lines I'm putting, they are signs of the areas I'm going to cut off. So when I put a loop on that back part, it will give me a V shape like. So I want to do the tightening. So I took 1/2 inch up there. So that's my loop. I'm just trying to label it. So I'll label my pattern now, so I won't get confused when I'm trying to join it. Side back, center back, so I'll start cutting up. The upper part is my yoke. I'll start cutting it out now. So I'm cutting out all the darts. Please try to watch our video on how to draft a basic bodice pattern. That will help you on making a Victorian and how to draft a basic bodice pattern. So remember, you can decide to divide it as much as you want to for a Victorian corset. So I'm just cutting out all the darts. So I will not be needing that part. Can you see the shape already? So when I put my loop, I'll have that vision. So for the yoke, I want to work on that part now. So I want that V neckline. So I'm trying to cut that out now. So that's the yoke for the back. So see what we have for the back pattern. So that one is set. So can you see? It's so beautiful. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Like and share our videos. We upload videos weekly. So I'm still trying to cut out everything to make it look perfect. So our back pattern is ready. So I'm bringing back our front pattern so you can see. I'm arranging it so you see what we have. You see the front and back pattern, they are equal on the side because of that 2 inches bust that as I closed on the side for the front. Can you see? They are equal on the side. So see what we have now. That's the front and back pattern. So on our fabric now, I just added a 1/2 inch allowance on everything. So I'm trying to cut it out on the fabric. So in our next video, I will show you how we are going to sew it. I added a 1/2 inch on the side of the pattern for joining. So I placed the lining under to save me from the stress of cutting and cutting. So see what we have. I'm cutting out everything. So I repeat the same process for the back pattern. So I'm done cutting. This is what we have. I'm using skin net for the yoke in front.